Now, Eden of the East, at its core, follows this Japanese guy who will later be referred to as Takizawa throughout the entire anime, who has self-inflicted amnesia, which makes the third anime I've seen this month where a character or characters have lost their memories. You starting to see the pattern here? I digress though, and throughout the entire anime he's trying to figure out the reason as to why he erased his memory, the mystery behind this game that he's apparently a part of, the different players who are a part of this game that are known as Selasau, and also the secret of his past. And that's what the entire anime is all about. Now, I've been meaning to watch Eden of the East for quite some time now, ever since I arrived to college and my good friend JW recommended the series for me to watch. And I have made 2 other attempts prior to this one to watch the series, but every time I tried, I would get past episode 1 and then automatically just stop. I have no real reason as to why. I would just stop watching it. It was weird to me. So now I finally had the chance to sit down and watch the entire series. And before I get to this review, I want to give a huge disclaimer right here at the beginning of this video. This is only the review for the anime series, the 11-episode anime series. That means I'm not including the 2 movies that came after the series, just the straight up anime series. And what do I think of the anime series? It's okay. I mean, I enjoyed many facets of it, but there were also parts that I was like, it's decent. So overall, I just thought it was decent. First off, the animation is pretty standard but very solid, duh, and I did like all the character designs, especially on Saki. I mean, Saki is just a really cute character. I liked her design. The story was quite interesting to follow as the characters try to unveil all the different mysteries throughout the entire anime, which I will not spoil for any of you. And most of the characters, although many of them really lacking in development, are still pretty interesting and quite enjoyable throughout the entire anime. I especially liked and related to the main character, Takizawa. I mean, he has an optimistic viewpoint on life, he's a caring individual, and to top it all off, he's a cinephile making movie references throughout the entire anime. He's the closest thing to an accurate portrayal of myself in any anime I've seen thus far. I mean, if he existed in real life, I have a feeling me and him would get along quite well. And the last character that really stood out to me in this anime was number 11, aka the Johnny Hunter. I thought this character was pretty interesting and I would have loved to know more about her and see her more throughout the entire anime. And her kind of solution to making the world a better place, although pretty extreme, it's something I could personally get behind, although you'll understand why they call her the Johnny Hunter once you watch the anime. But overall, she was a pretty interesting and also awesome character. And lastly, the voice acting. Now, this anime was dubbed by Funimation, and you all know how I personally feel about Funimation, so I won't even go into that. But I thought that the voice work in both the sub and the dub was really solid. And I have to give props to this guy right here. I don't know how to say his name, but I'll put it right here. He did a really good job at providing the voice of Takizawa. I really liked his voice work in this anime. And also, I have to give huge props to the Japanese dub version for adding both English and Japanese in the anime. And if you're looking for more of a fish out of water experience, I definitely recommend watching the Japanese dub over the English dub, because when Saki is talking to somebody in the English dub, it feels like she's not out of place, like she can have a nice conversation. But in the Japanese dub, she speaks broken English and sometimes she just breaks out in Japanese, making her feel more out of place here in America. So if you want a more genuine experience like that, I recommend the Japanese dub. Now, although I do enjoy many qualities of this anime, I do have a couple problems with it. And the first and biggest problem that I had with the anime series was that there was no closure or explanation to some of the things that actually went down in the anime. There's just a huge lack of clarity by the end of this anime that leaves you hanging with more questions than there are answers. And yes, the 2 movies after this anime do answer some of the questions that you had by the end of the anime, but they also leave out very important details. They left out a lot of crucial character elements, and they also left some questions unanswered. The one question that I've always wanted them to answer, and this isn't a spoiler, this is just a question I've always had, is why did he fly all the way to Washington, D.C.? They never once explained this reason at all. Why was he naked with a gun at Washington, D.C., far away from Japan, where he's originally from? You're gonna tell me? The story is left unresolved, and it leaves you a bit disappointed. And the last problem that I had, and this is another big problem that I have with this anime, was that there wasn't a lot of investment in any of the other characters because there's a huge lack of character development and character exploration throughout the entire anime. Besides the two characters that I mentioned previously, I don't remember any of the other characters, any of their names, any of their personalities. I just didn't really care about any of them. I do remember Saki, but she was kind of like a token girl character that was thrown in to give the main guy character this love interest. That's her only purpose throughout the entire anime, and she doesn't really have much of a development. She did have this interesting story that I wish they explored more, but they just drop it after 2 episodes, and that's the end of her story, I guess. One of Saki's friends, who obviously has a crush on her, I just really didn't like this guy. This guy irritated me throughout the entire anime. He wasn't funny, he wasn't charming, he felt like a freaking high schooler crying about the fact that Saki's hanging out with this other guy when I'm a nice guy, you can hang out with me. This guy annoyed the crap out of me, and I hated him. Even that one character that I mentioned was pretty cool, number 11, she's not really given much in the anime. We don't really get a sense of her character, she's not really given much development or even screen time. We just get basic information about this character, and that's it. We kind of understand that she's a little damaged because of some type of tragedy from her past, but they never explore it. They just kind of hint at it and then we move on. And what made it even worse is she leaves the anime and becomes less prevalent to the story, which really sucked because, again, she was a cool character. So overall, even though I did like some aspects to this anime, like the animation, the voice work, the story, and some of the characters I did find likable, the fact that none of the characters really got that much development and there was no closure to the story or real answers by the end just really brought this anime down for me. And that's why I'm gonna give this anime a 3 out of 5 stars. It's okay. If you don't see Eden of the East, nobody's gonna beat you up for it. And if you do want answers to the questions that you have by the end of the anime, definitely check out the movies. I really enjoyed the movies. Like I said, they answered some of the questions that I had, although the last movie, again, ends on an open note to where the story continues and there is no real closure, which sucked. But anyway, what did you guys think of this anime? Did you really like it, or did you find it really average like I did? And let me know, what is one anime that you felt suffered from a lack of closure? Comment below and let me know.